Hi guys, this is Hyunmin Max aka Max. Welcome back to another video on the channel. So for today, we're actually going to be talking about how the Road to the Final cards upgrades work, some of the league players that we have for the promo, right? The confusion over the Future Star swap token as well as the market itself. So if you guys have actually enjoyed all the content on the channel so far and you think I deserve your like and subscribe, please do subscribe and like the video. So how does Road to the Finals upgrade work, you might ask? So let's actually use Barella from Inter Milan as one of the example. So his 88 rated card is one of many players league to be coming in this promo. So Inter actually plays Porto next Thursday, right? Which is after the launch of the Road to the Final promo cards, right? Assuming that Barella is actually in Team 1. So if Inter Milan actually wins the first knockout game after the campaign launch, which is actually against Porto next Thursday, right, Barella gets a +1 upgrade, which will bring his overall to 89, right? Because his Road to the Final version is actually 88, right? So if they actually qualify for the quarterfinals, right, he goes up to a 90, right? If they qualify for the semifinals, right, he goes up to a 91 and he gets 3 new traits. So assuming that EA doesn't actually add any traits to his previous version, right? Let's say that if Inter do qualify for the semifinals, he might get finesse shot trait, outside the foot shot trait, and maybe a power header trait, right? All these are just examples. So another thing is if Inter qualify for the final, right, he's gonna be getting a 5-star weak foot, right? His current version actually only has 3-star, so 3-star to 5-star weak foot. And if Inter do go all the way and they win the final, he's gonna get a +1, right? As well as 5-star skill moves, right, from his 3-star skill moves. So he'll basically be 5-5, right? And at the end of the promo, or rather at the end of the Champions League final, right, he'll actually get +4, which will actually bring his overall up to 92. So this is just one of the examples that I can give you guys. So I think let's not get too confused with this, right? Because we'll actually see how this actually works as we move along. So this was actually an EA tweet, right? Actually revealing some of the cards that we'll be getting this Friday. So some people actually think that this is to combat foot sheriff leaks, but EA actually always does this for the Champions League promo, right? They let us know what are some of the cards that we'll be seeing in advance. So we actually have Alaba, right, who actually is will be very good in game, right, if his rule breakers is anything to go by, right? We have Firmino, who's a 5-star skiller, nice to have. We have Marlon as well, which would actually be great for your Dortmund links. So let's move on to the actual leagues itself. Right, we'll be getting another French centre back after Bashali in Fofana. So it's actually a perfect link, which would be really useful for chemistry purposes. Right, Leon Goretzka is actually another. I think he's gonna be really expensive, right? Similar to his Path to Glory, which currently is at about 700k. But you know, if you do pack Goretzka, right, you'll get that link with Mane that all of us actually need, because we actually have a lack of special Bayern cards this year. So Lucas Moura is another that we'll be getting, another player that we'll be getting. Right, he has always been a good card to use in game. So let's see how he plays. So we also have Nuno Mendes as well. Personally, I'm actually really looking forward to owning this Nuno Mendes, because League On, right, actually have a lack of left backs. So for those of you who have yet to decide whether to craft the Nuno Tavares objective, right, you can actually wait for this Nuno Mendes to release before deciding, right? But I don't think Nuno Mendes will be cheap. So the Tavares SBC is actually 600k to craft from scratch, right? So I want to actually talk about the upgrade for the Europa League cards, right? So which actually works a bit different from the Champions League, right? The only difference is this first stage right here, right? They only upgrade after the team qualifies for the round of 16. So let's actually use Eric Lamela as one of the example, right? He plays for Sevilla. So currently, right, Sevilla just beat PSV 3-0, right, in the first leg. So take note that right now we are in the playoff leg of the Europa League, right? We are not yet in the round of 16. Okay, so even though Sevilla has beat PSV 3-0, Lamela is not getting any upgrade, right? Because they have not yet progressed to the round of 16. So let's say, right, the second leg, right? Let's say PSV beat Sevilla 1-0, right? On aggregate, Sevilla still win 3-1 on aggregate, right? Because they won 3-0 in the first leg, right? And Sevilla progresses to the round of 16, right? Now that is when Lamela, right, goes from an 86 rated to a 87 rated, right? So that's how I can best explain it. So we're actually gonna be seeing DRB as a SBC as well. I think he's a really pacey player, right? But 80 shooting in February is just not it for me, right? Let's just see how much his SBC costs and his actual stats before we judge, because at the end of the day, right, this card can upgrade. So let's see. We also have Ferran Torres as another player. I think he's very good for those Barca links. We also have Anthony Marcel as well, who will actually be one of the headliners for the Europa League to the final cuts. So he's actually going to be really expensive because of the United hype. Right? Though I think that he actually doesn't really play that well in game traditionally. We also have Miranda, probably fodder for most people. So Volan is actually another player that we will be seeing. Right? Sheriff mentioned that this is coming as team 1. So could this mean that we get 2 teams? Maybe, we shall see. So Chiesa is actually another card that we will be getting as well. So for those who did the Di Maria and Pogba SBC, right, we finally have the third Juve special card to link him with. So Chiesa actually usually plays really well in game, so I'm actually looking forward to his card. We also have Martinelli as well, right? Following on with the huge number of special Arsenal cards we have in this FIFA, right? Martinelli is scheduled to be released after the Nketiah that we got in the Future Stars promo. Right, so for the Europa Conference League, right, the upgrades work exactly the same as the Europa League, right? So I'm not gonna explain it again. So the only player we have right now from the Conference League is actually Otal, who actually gets a special card every FIFA, right? And this year is no different. So we will actually also be getting what we call the Road to the Final rewinds. So it's just to celebrate all your comebacks and your shocks from the competition itself. So one example that I remember is actually this Lucas Moura card that we got, right, after first incredible comeback over Ajax, right, in the semi-finals quite a few years ago. So when will all these cards upgrade, right? So we actually have the dates here, picked by Foot Sheriff. So basically, right, the cards will all upgrade, right, when a given stage has concluded. So I think one example I can give you is in the case of the finals, right? Maybe after all the quarterfinals is done, right? That's when the upgrades will be given out, right? When all the semifinals are done, the upgrade will be given out, so on and so forth. If you guys want, right, just take a screenshot of this. So for me, right, I think it's good to have the weak foot and skill moves upgrade, right, instead of the overall stats. Because as you guys can see, right, based on this timeline, right, by the time the cards are done upgrading, right, will actually be in June, right, June the 12th, which is actually when Team of the Seasons card will be out. So we'll have lots of cards that have boosted weak foot and skill moves. So in order for these cards to remain relevant, right, I think the weak foot and skill moves boost is actually quite necessary. So I actually want to talk about the swap token situation, right, that I mentioned at the start. So we actually have 2 released here under Silver Stars. right? You get one for winning 3 matches, and you get another for completing the whole objective. Our last token, right, was actually released yesterday, right, under the marquee matchups, right. It's in the first segment of the marquee matchups, right. It's actually under the Frankfurt versus Bremen. So with that, right, we actually now have a total of 33 tokens, right, because we actually have three release in the store, right. So this was the token that I was talking about, right. The last one is here. So we actually have a total of 33, like I mentioned, with 3 release in the store. So remember that EA actually told us at the start we'll only be getting 30 tokens, right. Now for me, right, I always take the worst case scenario. I'm not gonna start assuming that the store packs are bonuses, and that they are in fact part of the original 30 that EA has actually announced. That is why, right, for me, I don't turn in my tokens right until the end, because I want to see how many EA actually ends up releasing. Because you guys know, right, based on the Winter War cards swap tokens previously, right, we are not sure exactly how many EA do release, how many is in store, how many is in objectives, and how many is in SBCs, right. So because I have so many viewers who actually told me that they have already submitted their tokens, right, and they couldn't get their, for example, 84 by 20 because they actually only lacked 1 token, and they thought that EA has actually released all the tokens, right. So in the future, right, just wait till EA releases all the tokens before submitting them for the rewards. Right, so the next thing I actually want to talk about is actually a SBC that was released 2 days ago. So for this SBC, right, I'm actually talking about the Mero Balotelli SBC that I've actually completed here. I have viewers telling me that they're actually struggling to use him properly in game, right? So I've actually done a player review on him, and I did go through about some of the workarounds you can have for the cons of this card. So if you're struggling with using Mero Balotelli in game, right, do check my review out on the top right hand corner of this video, right. So we actually also got a Player of the Month Bundesliga for Julian Brandt. 4-star, you know, with high medium work rates. He's not really usable, to be honest, at this stage with that 76 acceleration. So he actually costs about 31k to complete, right? And I think he's basically good for the, considering that the cheapest 88 rated card right now is actually about 31k or so. So the next thing I want to talk about is actually the new team of the week itself, right? Let's take a look. I think EA has really juiced the team of the week this time around, right? So we actually have Cristiano Ronaldo, right, who looks great, right? 5-star, 4-star. Except for the acceleration and balance, right? I think he's really usable, right? It's of course the difficulty is linking him because he's actually in the Saudi league right now. So another good player that I think is actually Ben Yedder, right? 5-star, 4-star, 5-star, right? He has very great stats all around. It actually looks really crazy, and he'll basically make most people's team. Right? He also has the outside foot shot as well. Right, Di Lorenzo is actually another player who looks really good, right? 3-star, 3-star, medium work rates, which is what I don't really like, the medium work rates, right? However, the rest of his stats actually look pretty decent. So for those of you who are actually still rocking Maldini at left back, right, you guys can actually swap Luke Shaw and Maldini, right? So Maldini can go as the center back and Luke Shaw can play as the left back in your team, right? So I think he looks really good. So Frimpong is another player that I like, 3-star, 3-star, right? High medium work rates, right? 98 acceleration with 95 sprint speed, which is actually fantastic. So the only thing that I don't like is his reaction at 81 and composure at 76, but otherwise, you know, good rate to have. Now the surprising thing is, even on the bench, right, we have good players. So we have Jonathan David on the bench, right? High work rates, 3-star skill moves with 5-star weak foot, which is fantastic, right? His stats basically looks really good, and I think, you know, he'll be great in game, right? So I want to say, you know, kudos to EA for actually giving us one of the best team of the weeks that I can remember in a very, very long time. Right, so the next thing I actually want to talk about is actually the party bag, right, or the player pick that we have gotten few days ago, right, which actually came as a little bit of a surprise because I think that EA actually released this really late in the game. Right, we actually usually saw party bags in the first week of the Future Stars promo, right, so I'm talking about this. So it was basically the 86 plus mix campaign player pick, right, whereby you could get out of position, right, Centurions, you know, team of the year, honorable mentions from or Future Stars player, right, from this pick, right, rated at least 86 or higher. So it basically costs about 90k based on the current fodder prices. And the pack rate for this, I would say, is actually relatively decent. Right, you get a chance to pack Centurions, right, who are actually really good. Centurions like Varane, Kimpembe, Dembele, right? There are so many good cards that you can pack that can actually make your team and stay in your team for quite a while. So what happened was, right, players who were actually packed in this campaign player pick, right, actually dropped down in prices, especially your lower rated versions. So I actually want to take a look at the fodder market itself, right? This brings us to the fodder market. So the fodder, right, actually didn't really move that much because, like I mentioned, the SBC was only 90k. So what happened was your 85s, for example, right, they did spike a bit from 13 to 14k, which is not a really big rise. Right, your 86s have actually seen a little bit of increase as well because you actually needed 186 rated or higher. Right, so I actually want to talk about the icon SBC, right? So let me just open up the tab. So the icon SBC. So the icon SBC, right? Yep, over here. Right. So they're actually gonna be refreshing on Friday at content drop. So let's use 86s as an example, right? So your 86s, right, previously, when the hero player pick actually refreshed last week on Friday as well, right? Your 86s, let me see, it was on the 10th, right? Yes, right here. So they were at 16k, right? At content drop on Friday, right? They actually went all the way up to 18.6k when the hero SBC actually refreshed, which is actually the scenario that we are facing right now, where the icon SBC will refresh on Friday at content drop. So they actually saw a 2k rise. Now for me, right, for investments, right, I like 86s, you know, getting them for anywhere between 15 to 16.5k is actually good, right? I actually also like 87s, right? Buy 87s at between 21 to 22.5k, right? You can actually buy these fodder cards before the actual promo drops on Friday. Right, just take note that if you do, right, the 86s and 87 might drop a little bit more before they go back up, right, depending on what kind of packs EA have in store, you know, and how many lightning rounds they run. So if you guys are actually scared to lose coins, I think buy after the lightning rounds. But take note that fodder might have already rose, right, due to the icon SBC refreshing. So at the end of the day, right, it actually comes down to supply and demand in regards to whether these fodder prices would drop or rise, right? So it will actually be even better if the 86 plus campaign player pick refreshes on Friday, but unfortunately it doesn't, right? It refreshes on Saturday. So the fodder investments might be a little bit risky. So I suggest, right, if you guys still have tradable cards in your team, right, just, you know, sell them, because if the road to the final is anywhere as good as it has been in previous years, right, your tradable cards are going to drop, right? So I actually want to go through some of the profit we made in the past few days, right? We sold 84s, 85s and 86s, right? I've actually cleared most of them over the past 2 days, right? This is what I have left. So we actually sold 86s, right? At close to 20k, right? We bought them at 17k. We bought 85s at 13k and we sold them at about 15.5k. Right, we bought 84s at 4.7k and we sold them at 6k, 6k or so, 5.5k. Right, so I actually had viewers who informed me they actually made millions of coins off the investment tips I gave in Discord. So if you guys want free investment tips, do join up the Discord. Right, link will be down below. So I'm actually really excited for this Road to the Final promo. Right, I think they will be so much better than the Future Stars promo that we're having. Right, the league players we have so far are actually looking better already, and with the prospect of them being able to upgrade, right, it just adds more excitement and hype to the game itself. So I actually have a few big packs saved for this promo, and I'm actually gonna be doing some player picks. So if you guys want to see some pack openings and some player picks, right, do join us live on Twitch later at 5:30 p.m. GMT, right, or simply 30 minutes before content drop. I will actually also be doing some live trading as well, so you guys can hop in and let me know any trading questions you have, and you guys can basically follow what I buy, right, live. So all these links will actually be down in the description below, and I hope to see you guys there. All right, take care, guys.